And coming inside of the city, any show I've invested into before, 30 days before the show, you can see visibility.
There's posters
Billboards, there's things everywhere. You
Yeah.
see nothing. There's no whisper of Burna Boy. We stop at a gas station. I ask some gas station attendants, hey, do you guys know about the Burna Boy show next month? Crickets. No one knows anything. I find out this when I send the proposal from the live streaming company to his talent agency, and they said, what is this? There is no live streaming, there is no documentary. Just a week prior, I'd swiped my wife's credit card for $106,000 for Burna Boy's team's flights and hotels. He was supposed to have gotten $100,000 from Rich Homie Quan's dad to pay for this, something. I don't know what happened to the money. And then my next arrest was at 22 years old. From 16 to 22, I never even had a speeding ticket in my life. I was in no trouble.
Yeah.
Not that I wasn't getting into trouble, but like I was doing like kid stuff, like fighting, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a little guy, so I had a short man complex when I was younger. So I was always fighting dudes bigger than me. And I'm not going to say that I didn't commit any crime. Doing business with a drug dealer is it's against the law. You're not supposed to be, cleaning their money. It's a crime.
But did you know though?
Did I know I was cleaning his money? I didn't. That's the truth. But was I? Yes. But I did not know.
Yeah. From being a millionaire, multi-millionaire, now you going back to delivering pizza.
It was fucked up. But you know, look, I can't lie.
Yeah.
I thought after I went to jail that my days with money was over.
Yeah.
I came home, I was 31 years old, a convicted felon. And it's why I'm not shy about telling anyone I went to prison.
Dumelang and welcome to In Detail and Beyond podcast with myself, Julia Madiboro. On this show, we bring you people that we know that you guys want some answers from or you guys want to hear from. Today's guest is someone who doesn't do a lot of podcasts. He's very select. So we're very, very happy that he decided to join us today. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Mr. Gregory Wings.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. You look like a rapper, all iced up, all good.
I'm just me.
You're just you. Thank
me.
you so much for taking some time to come and talk to us today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Say hi to you. You've got followers, you've got fans, you've got supporters. I'm not sure if you know.
No, I don't know.
Okay, say hi to our people at home.
How y'all doing out there?
Mr. Wings, I'd like to start by introducing you. But sometimes we introduce people based on what's on Google. We introduce people based on what we've read and what we hear about people. So let me just start by asking you, who is Gregory Wings?
So Gregory Wings is honestly still a kid, searching for that one true friend in life. My grandfather, he died when he was 83. And I had two best friends at the time that I thought like I'd be with for life. And he told me, he said, son, you have all of these friends and all of these people around you. Just know that I'm dying and my one true friend died like 40 years ago. So I know I see you with those two guys all the time, but just be careful. And those same two guys sent me to prison. You know, so sometimes the same person that will die for you will also kill you, you know, and steal from you. So for me in life, all of my like troubles and heartaches and pains have always come from people that are close to me, like a stranger. Like, I don't know you. You could never scam me. But the moment that I care for you, I love you, I want to be your friend, instantly now you have the opportunity to play me because my guards will be down. Now, if we're just doing business and it stays business, you'll never play me because it'll just be business. But the moment I care for you, I will let my guards down. And that's something that has gotten me into trouble over the years with people. But I am who I am. You know, I can't change that. So a person will look at me and maybe think I'm a womanizer, but I'm actually like a woman's champion. Like, I have all girls around me. You know, between my wife, her mother, her grandmother, her sister, my mother, my sister. I have an adopted 31-year-old girl, 24-year-old girl. My biological daughter's 20. And I consider my wife's sister, my sister-in-law, to be my child also. She's 18. So you have all of these women around, and you're trying to be an example of showing them how men should treat them, you know, the type of person that a black man should look like. Because I learned the hard way. The first person that gets their hands on you at 18 will shape your 20s and maybe the rest of your life.
Okay.
The first two men that got their hands on me, you know, took me along the path to prison, you know, and sent me there after they took me along the path. So it just taught me over the years. I've been learning this spirit of discernment,
Okay.
and it's a tough one to have.
Yeah.
I still haven't mastered it. I'm actually not even close
Okay.
at all. You know, my best friend died 2 weeks ago. He's 43 years old. Just had a heart attack, just died out of nowhere. I have two best friends, Markel and Nick. Nick is the one that passed. And, you know, you go through like lots of trials and tribulations through life. And sometimes you will skip past the one person that was supposed to be your friend, you know. And I remember when I started making money, and I started making money young. I was like 19 when I started making money. And I always thought that my two best friends, who would never harm me ever in life, were not the word's not corny, but their path in life was college. My path in life was I was ready to be a baller, like right away, you know, by any means necessary. And so I drifted away from them. But no matter how often we talked or not, I mean, instantly, it was like we never, you know, lost the beat. And then him passing is, of course, sad. He has kids, you know, but now where I am in my life, to finish answering your question of who I am, a lot of people are finding out I'm a man that does not back down. I don't run away from literally anything. If you steal from me, I will come for you, and I'll never take from anyone. You know, when a person asks me about like crime to me, crime doesn't bother me. Crime is a way of life. I mean, some of the greatest people, you know, in life, in history, you know, used to be criminals. And wow, in the first 5 minutes and I'm in tears. What
Really
happened,
crying?
guys?
What's
What
happening?
happened?
Are you okay?
Jeez, yes. God bless Nick. Yes. My brother, man,
God
my
bless
brother.
Nick, man.
And the reason why I teared up is I was not able to make it to his funeral. I was out of town when it happened, and the funeral was very fast. God bless his soul. So, at any rate,
Shoot, G, man, we're seeing a side of you we never see before, you know? What's making you so emotional about
no, I mean, honestly, I'm actually, I try to teach, look, if a person my age now, and I'm 41, if a person at my age would have got their hands on me at 18 or 19, there's no telling what I would be in my life right now. You know, yeah, my life is great to have money and all of that stuff, but, you know, the reason why I'm still in South Africa is because I want to leave some type of legacy. You know, I could stay in America. My life is great. I mean, I love the United States, but I bank at Bank of America. When I walk inside of Bank of America, I'm just one of thousands of people that have a few $1,000,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a personal banker and all of that, but they don't care about me. If I leave, they could care less. When I walk inside of NetBank, it's like, I mean, it's like the red carpet was rolled out. I mean, it's, I say that because there's an appreciation of the society here for me, the opportunities that are here that, so South Africa is a few years behind in certain things.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be super innovative. All you have to do is take concepts that are working in other places and bring them here because, I mean, South Africans are intelligent people. You know, they want these things, you know, to be here. They're not here for, you know, multitudes of reasons. But if you have someone that's willing to bring things here, which I am, you can, I mean, there's lots of people that can benefit from lots of things. So, you know, I just passed my 1-year anniversary of being here. And a lot of people are wondering why I've been here so long. I've literally been immersing myself in just culture. Yeah, I've had drama, you know, but drama happens, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, people are finding out they need to just leave me alone, you know. I learned a long time ago, in business you take losses, but when you sit and you cry about the loss, you'll never make any more money. You'll be broke forever. You have to just get up and move on and keep making money. As long as you keep working, you can keep making money. When I was in prison, the number one thing that I realized was everyone in prison has the number one attribute that it takes to be an entrepreneur, and that's being a risk taker. Everybody took a risk to go to jail. So that's how you have some of the smartest guys that I've ever met in my life, I've met in prison. Yeah. There's a lot of smart people that are free, never gone to jail, you know, God bless them all. But there's a lot of really intelligent men that are in prison. And in society, if you have another chance, you know, you can make it. I was given another chance. Yeah, I paid for it dearly, you know, but I was given another chance. And I mean, you know, here I am. I mean, a person will try to use my past against me. I went to jail 20 years ago. If I were to ask you, with not me being in the room, if you had a son who was 40 and somebody told you that your son was being judged because he went to jail when he was 22, what would you tell that person? You would probably tell them F off, because there's no reason. Now, if I go to jail today, judge me for the rest of my life, I know better. But as a child, like, yeah, I had a lot of money. Yeah, you know, crimes were committed, but in a white collar crime, I went to jail for money laundering. Most people think it was fraud. I didn't go to jail for fraud. I went to jail for money laundering. And I got 10 years in prison. First time I'd ever been in trouble in my life, ever. And you have to do 85% of that time. So I did 8 years and 4 days in prison. And then I did another 6 months in, they call it like a transition house. Getting out of prison, so first I guess I have to tell you how I went to prison. Yeah. So me growing up, and my father is, you know, people have it confused when I say my father was a functional addict. It's almost as if somebody says, oh, I'm saying my father was a piece of shit. No, my father was a great man. He still is. I love him to death. But he recognizes his faults. I have to recognize my faults. And as kids, when we grow up, we get to see our parents' faults and try to rectify them in life. So me, when I got shot, they had me on morphine. I mean it when I say our money goes so far here, you know. So it's like the Drake show. I'm self-funding. It's $5 million. Now, when you say it in rands, it's 100 million rands. It
It's
sounds
a lot.
like so much money,
Yeah.
but it's just $5 million.
It's just 5 million. Right?
So it's like, it is a lot of money. You know,
Yeah.
it is. Don't get me wrong, but it's something that when I tell people I want to be the Live Nation of Africa.
Yeah.
If I wanted to be the Live Nation in the United States, I'd have to start with minimum of $100 million. Minimum.
Yeah.
Here, one show's $5 million.
Yeah.
You know,
So
and right now I've raised capital for 6 shows already, 30 million. So
we're still here with Mr. Gregory Wings, also known as G Money on Instagram, if you do follow him. And we just saw him now talk about the relationship that he had with one of his best friends, whom he lost 2 weeks ago. Gregory, how deep was your relationship with Nick? Who is Nick to you?
when I was younger, my subdivision was on this side of the street and his was on this side. So we rode different buses. And he's 2 years older than me. So he was like my protector, you know, with us growing up. And, you know, I was always trying to get in trouble. And Nick was always there to like rescue me.
Yeah.
So, you know, we played sports together, baseball, football. Him and my other best friends, his name's Mark Hill. Our group chat, we talk every single day, you know. So then my other best friend, Mark Hill, got married last month. And I couldn't make it to his wedding, and I was his best man. I felt so bad. And it would have been the last time that me, him, and Nick would have been, you know, together. So that was kind of sad, but unfortunately, life goes on. It sucks. So the only thing you can do is to make sure that a person's, you know, memory isn't lost.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. He has 2 boys, very, very good-looking kids that he was a very good father to. So you be there for them. I mean, that's all you can do. I mean, I missed 8 years out of my kid's life. So, like, I'm always willing to take a child. You know, and me and my wife have been on this adoption journey for a while. Now, a couple years that we've been doing that. So, like I said, right now I have 3 adopted children and 2 biological children. And then I'm looking to bring a baby into the world, man. I want to do that one more time. I want to make sure my wife has a child of her own as well. By the way, my wife is literally my best friend.
Yeah, you guys even look alike. You guys are tight.
Yeah, it's my homie, man. It's my homie. Contrary to popular belief, I don't cheat on my wife.
He's got a whole tattoo of his wife on his neck, guys.
Yes,
you can't touch
her
that.
lips on this side. Her name is on this side.
Oh, those are her lips.
Yeah, these are my wife's lips. Here.
Nice.
And this is my wife's mother's name here. And then this is her grandmother's name.
You're big on family, man. You're really big on family. That's very refreshing to watch, you know? Sure. Now, touch on family. You were still telling us the story about your dad and growing up.
Yeah, my dad was like, he was my hero, man. I wanted to be just like him. When I used to get in trouble in school, I used to tell the teachers, like, I don't need this. I'm going to work for my dad. And then as an adult, you know, I ended up finding out, you know, everything wasn't as it seemed. Because my dad, I mean, we grew up poor, so I was probably maybe like 10. And then he started his construction business, and then he kind of grew that. And then by the time I was like 16, 17, he was making a lot of money. And then one day he just lost everything. And it was because of some crimes and some other things there. And my dad was a preacher, so it kind of even hurt my faith, because when I found out at 18, 19 that all of these great Christians that I had been watching my whole life were having children out of wedlock, everybody's cheating on their wives, this guy's a scammer. This guy's doing fraud. It was just,
Yeah.
it pushed me away from like fellowshipping inside of a church. I never went away from my faith in God, but I believe that I don't have to sit inside of a church pulpit and give 10% for me to have my relationship with God. So me, when I tithe, those that have scammed me in this country, they don't realize they were only able to scam me because I was tithing. My tithing is helping people.
Yeah.
Because I don't give it to the church, but
Yeah.
I make sure I give it to the people, And so for me, my blessing comes in many other ways.
Yeah.
I was shot July 2019.
Okay.
I died 4 times on the table. That means every single day that I'm here, every single day that I wake up, it's a gift.
Yeah.
So for me to harp on the past is like, yes, you're upset about things, but if a person that wronged me wants to know anything about me, the only thing I care about is your intention, because intention is everything. If I've ever harmed anyone, my intention was never to harm them, and that's why I'm always apologetic. So a person that knows me knows that I'm extremely respectful.
Yeah.
I always, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And the reason for that is my temper is very short.
Okay.
So I stay respectful because when you disrespect me, I'm going to go very fast.
Okay.
So, and I know when you're disrespecting me, you must want to fight me because I know how respectful I am. So I live my life. I live my life to please God and my family. So it doesn't mean I don't fuck up.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I don't do stupid shit. Doesn't mean I don't piss my wife off sometimes. Doesn't mean I don't piss my God off sometimes. But at least I'm striving for that. I was saying to you before how crime doesn't bother me. And crime is a part of life. So you have, for instance, if you want to go and rip off a bank or an insurance company, go for it. They screw people every day.
Yeah.
Do your thing. But don't steal from Mrs. Johnson out of her purse. Don't steal from the guy who worked 35 years to save his money and you scam him. Like, don't steal from people. If you want to be a bully, if you want to be a thief, go steal from the big boys.
Yeah.
They're there for you. And when they catch you, they're going to lock your ass up. But if you can get away, you can make a lot of money. But don't steal from people that work hard. So for me, I would never take from a man, because if you take from me, you need to look over your shoulder for the rest of your life. I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to take from you. I don't have time to be looking over my shoulder. I have a wife, I have kids, I have a dog who I love very much, if you know me. And then life is too short. Money's not that important. I realize, like the guys that scam me out here, they scam me so they could go to the club and buy bottles of champagne and fuck girls. It's the silliest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Because once I find out that you wronged me, you know what you can do for me? Remember I told you it's about intention.
Yeah.
You can come back to me and say, man, I fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. Can we work it out?
That works with you?
100% it works for me. 100%. I'll tell you why. Every time I've made a mistake in my life, people have thrown me away.
Okay.
So for me, it gives me compassion for people who have made mistakes. You can change.
Yeah.
If I change, anybody can change. So when I see someone that has made a mistake, if you come to me, I don't care how much you've taken from me. If you give me a fraction of it, I'll take it. The contractor dude who just stole my money, he offered me $2 million one day.
Yeah.
I said, okay. To this day, he never gave it. So now I'm coming for you for all of my money. I was here to help you.
Yeah.
Like, can you scam me? You're supposed to be rich right now. Instead, you're broke, you're running, you're scamming other people. Like, the dude's disgusting. I won't even say his name. Look, every country needs foreign investors. America, Europe, South Africa, no matter where you are, you need foreign investments.
True.
So to treat me the way I was treated in this country, I was arrested twice,
Yeah.
kidnapped. The second time I was arrested for 5 days, no charge. I went to court and they let me out the back door. Like, people were coming to see me, trying to extort me for money. Like, it was wild. And here I am, just an investor trying to invest my money into the country. I guess I can tell you the story in order. You tell me, what would you like to know first?
I want to get to all these allegations, right?
Yes.
I'll get to all of them. The Burna Boy concert, I'll get to.
Yes.
The 500,000 rand ring missing, I'll get to losing 10 million rand,
Yeah.
the Drake concert, we'll get to all of them, right? So let's start with your arrests. You've been arrested 4 times in your life, 2 in the United States and 2 here in South Africa. In South Africa, you've been arrested twice in 1 year or less, right? So let's start about your first arrest. What did you get arrested for the first time?
The first time in my life I got arrested, I was a kid. I was 15. Remember I told you how my dad, I was growing up and he started making money.
Yeah.
As he started making money, we started moving into better neighborhoods, which were in the United States, the best neighborhoods are white.
Yeah.
So you move away from all of your friends. So from junior high to high school, which is a huge transition for a kid, I went to, all of a sudden, he moved me to an all-white high school. And so here I am missing all of my black friends who are 45 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
There was this day that they would celebrate, and they would go to this amusement park called Six Flags. And this day was called Hazelwood Day. And I wanted to go to Hazelwood Day. My father told me I couldn't go, and I was determined to go so bad that I snuck out of the house.
Okay.
I staged my own kidnapping.
At 15.
At 15, with a letter and everything. And I went to Six Flags. I took my dad's car,
Yeah.
and I went to Six Flags. And I didn't get to enjoy Hazelwood Day. My dad had the police waiting for me.
To arrest you for your own kidnapping.
Yes, to arrest me. And so they take me to jail. And, my mom is telling my dad, no, don't let him keep him. Let him come home. And so they tell my father that they can keep me until like my court date, which would be like the next day.
Okay.
So he's like, yeah, keep him overnight. We'll get him out of court tomorrow, right? So he wants me to spend the night in jail. Now, when we go to court, they postpone my court date for 45 days. And he cannot take back that he said to leave me until my court date. So now I'm stuck in jail, in juvenile, for 45 days.
Damn, now your mom is pissed.
Oh, my mom is pissed. But, it was good. I was bad. But actually what helped me growing up was actually sports. After I started playing football and baseball, I stopped getting into trouble. So that was my first arrest at 16. And that was thrown out. I mean, it was my dad.
Trying to teach you a lesson.
And then my next arrest was at 22 years old. From 16 to 22, I never even had a speeding ticket in my life. I was in no trouble.
Yeah.
Not that I wasn't getting into trouble, but like I was doing like kid stuff, like fighting, I'm a little guy. So I had a short man complex when I was younger. So I was always fighting dudes bigger than me. Like somebody my size, I'll never fight you. You have to be bigger than me, because if you whoop me, fine, you're bigger than me. But if I whoop you, you'll never live it down, So, I used to fight and those types of things, but I never sold drugs or, none of those, whatever you would think, whatever a person looks at me and thinks that I would have done, that's not what I did. I went to college to play football. I ended up hurting my back. So I stopped playing football, and that's when I went into business at 19. I made my first $1 million right before my son was born. My son was born, I was 20. And then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, from St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah.
And that's where I met the two guys that I told you I met at my young age. That's where I met them, and I'm shaking because I'm cold, not because I'm nervous.
Yeah.
But I ended up, I think Leon was 30, Daryl was 35, something like that, and I was 19, 20 years old. And what I was doing was I was buying 60 acres of land at a time. I would section them off into 32-acre lots, and I would sell them to builders. But I would sell them at a discount. And for that discount, I would get a portion of the builder's profit, but I was also a realtor.
Yeah.
So I would let my office would have the exclusive right to sell all of the properties. So I had 9 Metro Brokers offices back then. I had almost 1,000 realtors working for me, but I was feeding them my properties through my building and how I was buying land and stuff. And so my 2 partners were bringing me buyers.
Yeah.
And some of the buyers were stolen identities, bogus, the mortgages were bogus, just bogus. And then one of my friends was a huge drug dealer.
Yeah.
And he used to fund some of my projects. Yes, I know he sold drugs, but he wasn't bringing me bags full of money. He would wire transfer money, you know, to where it needed to go. I would wire transfer my money. We'd do a project. He would get his, I would get mine. When he went to jail, one of his guys snitched on me that I was working with him on my properties. And that's how I got investigated. And that's the case that I pled guilty on for the money laundering. The real estate was my 2 business partners. I mean, it was because of the buyers. I didn't know the buyers. I was selling the properties. I had no reason. I mean, I was rich. I mean, when they seized my money, they took $19.5 million from me. I was 22 years old. I had no reason to break anybody's rules, laws. I mean, when I got sentenced, I mean, the mayor of Atlanta testified at my sentencing. I was running for Fulton County Commissioner, like I was in politics. I had, my life was on a path.
Yeah.
And then it just got derailed. And I'm not gonna say that I didn't commit any crime. Doing business with a drug dealer is it's against the law. You're not supposed to be, you know, cleaning their money. It's a crime.
But did you know though?
Did I know I was cleaning his money? I didn't. That's the truth. But was I? Yes. But I did not know.
Yeah.
And to me, it was like, as long as he's not bringing me cash, I'm not breaking the law.
Okay.
He's wire transferring me money. So even if that's money that he laundered, it's clean now that he's sending me. But the way the government works in the United States, one tainted dollar taints the whole kitty. So, I mean, our business that we did together wasn't $19.5 million, it was $8.7 million.
Yeah.
But they took my whole $19.5
Messed up the
million,
whole thing,
and then they made me pay $8.6 million worth in restitution after I got, you know, out of prison. So I ended up doing 8 years, 4 days in prison, and then another 6 months in a halfway house. And I came home from prison, dead broke. I mean, it was fucked up.
So you have to start from afresh now.
Yes, I had to start afresh. I asked my mom to let me stay with her while I was getting my things together. I worked 4 jobs. All I asked her to do was feed me. My goal was if I could save $100,000, I figured it would take me a year. I'd be fine. I knew exactly what to do from there.
Yeah.
So I was delivering pizza for Pizza Hut and Domino's, and I was stocking shelves for Walmart and CVS.
From being a millionaire, multi-millionaire, now you going back
it was
to
fucked
delivering
up, man.
pizza.
It was fucked up. But you know, you look. I can't lie.
Yeah.
I thought after I went to jail that my days of money was over.
Yeah.
I came home, I was 31 years old, a convicted felon. But, and it's why I'm not shy about telling anyone I went to prison. It doesn't bother me because if you're scared of it, I need you to be scared of it now. Don't find out later. Be scared of me now,
Yeah.
But deal with me for who I am, face to face. Because that's how I treat people. Just because you did something 20 years ago doesn't mean you are the same person today. Because that would mean that a person that was an alcoholic at 22 years old, now I should be scared if he drinks champagne at 40 and he hasn't had alcohol in 20 years. It doesn't make sense. He's not an alcoholic anymore, So, but at any rate, I came home from prison. I saved up $42,000.
Okay.
And one day they called me into my probation office, probation officer's office. And the probation officer says to me, Mr. Wings, where did this $42,000 come from?
So they've got access to your bank account and everything.
I have to submit my check stubs and my bank statements every single month.
Okay.
And I'm like, ma'am, I'm confused because you get my check stubs and my bank statements. And she says to me, nobody doesn't spend any money. And I said, ma'am, my mom is feeding me. I'm sleeping on her couch. I'm saving money so that I can get on with my life. They arrest me that day. I had 30 days. So when you first get out of federal prison, they make you go into a transition house.
Yeah.
So that transition period is 6 months. I was at 5 months, but for that 6 months, you're technically still in jail. They're just letting you be at home. So they can snatch you off the street whenever they want you to, for whatever reason they want to. So they locked me up for 30 more days. And then I got out. They took my $42,000 and they told me that I had to go back to Atlanta. So when I came home, they sent me to St. Louis because that's where all my family was. But my kids were in Atlanta. So I was happy to go back to Atlanta, but I wasn't happy to go back broke. With nothing, at all. So I had a car and I moved to Atlanta. I was living in my car. This is 2014. I was living in my car and I was doing medical studies for money, letting them shoot you with the drug and then they study you and they pay you like $5,000 to $10,000 per study. And while I was doing that, I was dating this girl, and I took her to this restaurant called Fogo de Chao in Atlanta. I had saved every penny I had, $200 to take her on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And I end up running into this guy who I had loaned $250,000 to in 2002.
Okay.
So before I went to prison, he had paid me my money back. It was no problems.
Yeah.
I just was running into him. And he tells me that thanks to me, he started that business. He had sold that business 9 months prior to him seeing me right then for, it was almost $50 million.
Yeah.
He sold the business. And they gave him a 10-year non-compete on the residential side of his business. It was heating and cooling. And he had just started a commercial heating and cooling business and he wanted me to come and work for him. So the next day I go and I see him and he wants me to head his sales department. Now I had been in construction forever, so I understood the construction side, but heating and cooling was not my thing. So because it's technical, so most contractors, you just hire a heating and cooling guy to do the work. You don't try to do it yourself. So, but what he needed was my commercial contacts because he was not in residential anymore. He needed business owners. So my first contract that I signed up was AT&T. I knew the executive vice president there in Atlanta. My first commission check was $68,000.
Nice.
I remember, I was dead broke. And he had so much respect for me that he used to want to eat lunch with me every day. So when we used to go to lunch, he would pay one day, I would pay the next day. Now, he had no idea. I was literally taking the change out of my change drawers and taking them to the grocery store and getting dollars. so I could pay for lunch. And at any rate, at the end of that year, he owed me about $900,000
Okay.
in bonuses and commissions.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew that if he paid me, I was gone.
It's game over for you.
So instead of paying me, he offered me 48% of the business. And that's the business that I own today. So we're in 19 US states, 4 countries, and obviously here now in South Africa, being number 5.
Sure. So this is obviously your second arrest, right?
Yes.
So you've shared extensively about the arrests in
Yes.
previous reports everywhere. So let's get to now South Africa, where you getting arrested, where you came to invest, but now you're spending time in jail cells, right? So 2023, news headlines: Burna Boy coming to the country. At the time, nobody knows who's bringing Burna Boy to the country. We're all just getting excited. It's the same weekend as the DSTV Delicious,
Yes.
right? A few weeks later, or a week before the Burna Boy concert happens, now news reports Burna Boy concert cancelled. How did we get there?
So fast forwarding.
Yeah.
I was in the hospital March 2023, and I get a call because I got shot. I have complications sometimes, so I was in the hospital, and I get a call from Sedote.
Yeah.
And he said he had a contract for Burna Boy, who unfortunately then I didn't even know who he was. You know, I'm a hip hop, like trap music.
Yeah.
You know. So once they played a couple songs, I understood who he was, and but I told him, look, I'm in the hospital, like I don't have time. He wanted $500,000, and I'm like,
So he's pitching at you while you're in the hospital bed?
yes, while I'm in the hospital bed, he's pitching to me.
Red flags with me, but hey.
Yes, right. So I've known Sedote since 2019. I introduced a mutual friend introduced us to each other.
Yeah.
And I always thought he just sold weed, and was like this like small like club promoter.
Yeah.
And then he came to me one day. I mean, we became friends for probably a couple years before the show. So I have respect for him. I liked him a lot. And so when he asked me about it, I told him if I wasn't in the hospital, I would do it.
Yeah.
Because he had asked me to invest in Future's show in 2022, and I didn't. And the show ended up being super successful. Not for him, he wasn't in the show, but he knew the guy that was in it. Sedote's funny, man. If I'm going to tell the story, I have to explain Sedote, though.
Please do.
I have to, man. So Sedote, and I'm being honest, I really liked him.
Yeah.
Like, I really considered him a friend. I mean, literally, if I showed you my phone, you'd see how many times I paid his rent for him. I was always doing things for him. And he's just like, I don't even explain it. He's like one of the little niggas. Like, he's cool.
Yeah.
But he's like, he easily gets played by people. So that's why I like him. But what I figured out now, the things where I've lost money with him over the years, small things, not really big. $200,000 once, $80,000 on a truck once. He used to sell me cars. And I ended up losing money on a few of these cars. But now I realize he was just stealing my money, where he was telling me someone else was getting him. It was actually him the entire time.
Yeah.
But this is that thing, when I consider you my friend, there's things that I just don't pay attention to. So in the hospital, I call my best older friend, and all of my friends are actually older than me. I have nobody younger than me. His name is Wayne Joyner. He's an awesome dude. He's 67, I think. And he knows everybody. He's an old BMF guy. I don't know if you know who Black Mafia family is. Big Meech and all of them. He's that guy, but he knows everybody. And he picks up the phone and he calls a guy named Mike Harris, who owns Death Row Records, and tells Mike about the show. Mike introduces Weezy introduces this guy Kenzo, who then all of a sudden came about
Yeah.
into this picture, who's also another scammer. And Sedote tells me that, so at this time, he tells me that he has $1 million, Sedote, that is supposedly tied up in this nightclub called Halo that he's owned for a few years. So I lived in Atlanta for like 12 years,
Yeah.
and then I moved to the West Coast. So when me and Sedote did business, it was always from 3,000 miles away. So I was never in his city with him. So if he's telling me that he owns a nightclub and he's a club promoter, doesn't matter to me, whatever,
Yeah.
that's what you do. We're not like in each other's lives like that. We're cool, we talk all the time, but not on that type of business. I mean, I don't even party like that anymore. So that's not my thing. So I find out that this club wasn't even open anymore. He hasn't had 5 clubs. It was just so many things I found out later down the line when now we're not friends. Now it's business and I have to do my research. Now I find out how many lies there, that are there.
Yeah.
At any rate, so when he came to me, I told him that I wanted 80% of the show. And it would be me and him in that 80%. But also, if I self-invested, I would get the majority of the share. And if I brought in an investor, we have to give the investor some of the, proceeds. So they introduce, while I'm in a hospital, Wayne introduces Mike to Kenzo. Mike puts up the $500,000 in less than 24 hours. All based on relationships.
Yeah.
My relationship with Wayne, Wayne's relationship with Mike, because Mike wouldn't do it without Wayne saying yes. Wayne doesn't say yes if I don't say trust Sedote and Kenzo.
Half a million rand down.
No, $500,000.
$1 million.
10 million rand. So, because Burna Boy's fee is 18 million.
Okay.
So it's $1 million. So,
So sorry, man.
No, it's okay. I have to warm my hands. So after that, I get out of the hospital. I find out about this deal that has been made. We all sit down with Mike. Mike's happy. Everybody's happy. We're going to move forward in the show. I give Sedote $250,000. He tells me he needs that for to get marketing going and a few other things going. And then he gets... me and Wayne get Mike Harris to agree to put up $3 million for the show. I booked the stadium. I saw somewhere Sedote's telling people that he paid for this or paid for that, or whatever. It was me. It came from my bank account. I booked the stadium. I paid for some of this marketing stuff that was going. And then there was like this big fiasco where Kenzo and Sedote, they fall out. Sedote now has somehow kicked Kenzo out and it's just him alone.
Yeah.
And he comes to me and he says, okay, Greg, it's just me and you, in the show now. And Mike can be the investor. So I take him, introduce him to Mike. Mike agrees, we're gonna move forward in the show. Early July, Mike decides he's going to back out. He doesn't want part of it anymore. He wants his money back. He convinces me this is not a good idea. I agree with him. We should all move on.
Yeah.
But at this point now, I've given Sedote $250,000 and I have $100,000 sitting with F&B. So I got 2 million rand sitting there and I have 5 million rand already spent with Sedote. Now, Mike's money...
What was it spent on?
I mean, he said marketing. It was a lot of traveling back and forth to L.A. I live in Vegas and in L.A., so when I go back and forth, it's just a gas tank, full. For him, he wants to fly first class, so I'm buying first class plane tickets for him, back and forth. He was getting evicted from his place. I paid his rent. It's just lots of things were just coming and coming and coming. But remember, that's my boy also. So I'm also not tripping because he's telling me we're going to make a lot of money out of the show. He's showing me now early July, he shows me the first ticket sales. He shows me a report that we've sold 6,000 tickets. So I'm like, all right, that looked good. Now, because he's now trying to raise money because Mike is out, right? And our deal was never for me to give him my money. It was for me to bring an investor. I brought one. He says he wants out. If he wants out, I want out. I trust him. So my experience in shows has been as an investor. I know exactly what's happening. I know how to throw a show, but that's not what I do for a living. I'm a contractor for a living. So I just invest my money and go. So even in this, where Sedote was telling people that I was his business partner, my name is not on his company. That Turnery Media Group, that's not my business. That's his business. I have an investment agreement. I invested. I was supposed to get 50% of the ticket sales. I was supposed to get 50% of the live streaming and the documentary. I find out later on, after everything is fucked up, there was never a live streaming contract. Agreement. There was never a documentary contract. And in shows, you have 5 streams of income. You have ticket sales, you have a documentary, you have live streaming, you have sponsorship, and then you have concessions. If you're just depending on ticket sales, you're going to lose. Ticket sales does nothing but get you your upfront investment back. That's in any show. Anybody will tell you that. Especially if you're doing here. United States, you have an average ticket of $250 and up. Here, your average ticket is only about $100, maybe $150, but mostly like $75 to $150. So you have to adjust. And to adjust, you have to bring in things like live streaming. You have to bring in things like a good, solid documentary that you can sell to Netflix or Hulu afterwards. But you have to know what you're doing, you know. And Sedote completely scammed me into thinking he knew what the hell he was doing. So when he tells me he's done all of these shows, he's listing shows that his boys have done. These are shows that maybe he had the after party that he was a promoter for. You know, I saw him promoting that he just brought Burna Boy to Atlanta. It was the funniest thing I've ever heard. I called the actual promoter. He says, man, Sedote has nothing to do with anything. I'll pull up the video after we're done and show it to you. He takes a video of himself, no one behind him, and then the camera switches, and then there's Burna Boy. In a totally different scene. You know, it's like, come on, man, like, get over yourself. Because at the end of the day, you should have more things to do in life. Why are we still talking? To be honest with you, 1 year later, I'm tired of talking about the show. This is like one blimp in my life. I've been through so many things. I've been to prison. I've been shot. I had an ex-wife stab me in my chest once. I've been through a lot of things, which is in my book when it comes out. But so at any rate, Mike Harris backs out. And the agreement between me and Mike and Sedote is that we're going to sign a release so that he can get his deposit back from the talent agency. And then Sedote is supposedly going to have somebody else put those funds there. And I told him, if you get somebody else to put those funds, I'll bring another investor. I have no problem whatsoever. So I had 2 investors waiting, but I want to see how this first show goes. Mike Harris is in the business of throwing shows. He's into entertainment business. He can handle himself. But my venture capitalists that just invest in my real estate projects, I can't bring them into this. They don't know anything about shows. And I don't want to be the man that's on the hook for that. So I'm trying to like massage this situation. So I'm saying, okay, if you bring this $500,000, because remember back in March, he told me he had $1 million, but he spent nothing and I've paid his rent twice. So there's a lie somewhere there. And he's telling me his investor has backed out and this and that. And then one day he comes with $100,000 from somewhere, but then all of a sudden the money disappears. It was just a story after story. But at the same time, this is my boy. My wife is telling me the whole time, stop trusting it, get involved. And then he comes to me and he shows me a budget, $2.7 million. And that $2.7 million, he says his $1 million investor is back and he needs $1.6 million. So that day we sign an investment agreement and I give him the $1.6 million.
Which month is this? Because now
this
the
is
show
July
is coming.
of 2023. July the 10th is the day that I gave him the money. He's supposedly going to pay the rest of Burna Boy's fee. He's paying all of the suppliers. You know, everything is supposed to be ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Now, I know better now that I have immersed myself in South Africa for a year.
Yeah.
That even the 1.6, first of all, 2.7 million was way too much money. Even the 1.6 million was too much money. But I didn't know this at the time because I'm in the United States looking at dollars.
Yeah.
You know, so in dollars, I'm saying that makes sense. I've invested in shows before. The numbers add up. So let's go for it, right? So the one thing that Mike had told me is that everyone gets paid here month in.
Yeah.
So I told Sedote that we need to go to South Africa end of August. We were supposed to go in July. He couldn't afford it. So I ended up moving my trip to August so I could come, you know, with him. There's no point in me coming here by myself.
Yeah.
So we land here August 23rd last year. Me, him, and my wife. And coming inside of the city, any show I've invested into before, 30 days before the show, you can see visibility.
There's posters
Billboards, there's things everywhere. You
Yeah.
see nothing. There's no whisper of Burna Boy. We stop at a gas station. I ask some gas station attendants, hey, do you guys know about the Burna Boy show next month? Crickets. No one knows anything. So we go to the hotel, and Sedote immediately starts doing interviews on TV. I'm like, what the hell is going on right
Yeah.
now? First of all, no one cares about us being on TV. We're here to, you know, you're supposed to be showing me the show, showing me what you've done, you're supposed to be promoting the show. Why are you doing interviews? And I start seeing on documents and things, he would have his title as a CEO. And he would have me listed as the CFO. And I'm like, the CFO of what? And the CEO of what? Like, but I understand it now. Look, if you put my business background
Yeah.
and you put Sedote's here, first of all, I'm disrespecting myself. If you put Sedote here, right? It doesn't compare.
Okay.
There's no comparison. Forget Google, forget everything. Let's just get to real life. Tell him to show me one business that he has, one business that's successful. How do you pay for your car? How do you pay for your house? I know how you do it, but I'm not a snitch and you're lucky. So it's disrespectful. Nobody's gonna
Yeah.
believe me and him in one room together that I'm following him and he's my CEO. This is why he did that, because he thought I was gonna outshine him. So in a conversation of me listening, I mean, I have 9 board of directors in my company and me and one business partner. I have to report. I'm in board meetings and I know how to have a high level conversation.
Yeah.
He will listen and we'll be done with a conversation. And I always want to respect him. So I say, hey man, do you have anything to say? And then he repeats what I say. Like, what the hell is happening, man? What did I get myself into? But at this time, this is the first time in our existence of being friends, of us being around each other 24 hours a day. I'd never done this with him before. Now I'm seeing this narcissist who wants to be, look, you see this big ass table. Anyone who knows me will tell you, I never sit at the head of the table, even if you reserve the seat for me, because I want to make sure that I respect everyone.
Yeah.
If you're sitting here in a chair on your laptop and there's all of these seats around, he will come here and ask you to move there so he can sit there.
He's
It's
the
the craziest
CEO.
shit ever. He's
He's
the
the
CEO.
CEO.
The CEO of what? I don't know, but the CEO. So at any rate, he had shown me some documents that he
Yeah.
had added me to this business as an investor,
Okay.
which was a lie. My name was never on the company. So he incorporated this business in the state of Wyoming. In the state of Wyoming, you can hide who the owners of the companies are. The only thing that's listed there is the attorney.
Yeah.
So whatever documents he's showing me, I'm just believing the documents that he's
Yeah,
showing me.
yeah.
And all the documents are bogus. So we find out that he only put himself on there. No one else is listed but him. You know, in the end, that's what screws him, because now he's liable for everything. But at the time, I thought that we were really partners in this one show. I really thought that. I was his investor and he was running the show.
Yeah.
So at any rate, I tell my wife we're gonna wait for him to go home. He can't afford to stay. When he leaves, I'm gonna try to figure out what's happening.
Yeah.
By this time, I think it's like the beginning of September. He goes home. And then I start asking questions, I start meeting people, start trying to figure things out. The show starts picking up a little bit of traction. Look, I'm a salesman. It doesn't matter what you sell.
Yeah.
Tickets, bottled water. I'll sell you your microphone if you want me to. A salesman is a salesman.
Yeah.
So for me, it was, hey, let's push the show. So at this time when he left, the reason why I invested is because he showed me 2 reports. One, at the beginning of July, he showed me a report that said we had sold 6,200 tickets. Then right before I invested, he showed me another one that said we had sold 17,000 tickets. So when we came here, he told me we were around like 37,000. So for me, my investment is safe. There's enough money sitting with Ticket Pro I'm in for 29 million rand. Ticket Pro should have at least 100 million.
Yeah.
So I see him getting advance payments from Ticket Pro.
Okay.
He got like 4 advance payments.
Okay.
But he says they're for expenses of the show. He said he had to book opening acts, these types of things. So I'm like, all right, man, whatever. For me, the money's there at the ticketing company. That's where you collect your money when you invest in a show, out of tickets. The rest is how you make, the extra in the show. So while I'm here, I'm preparing for things like a jackass that I can't even do. Live stream and a documentary. There's no contract for it.
You didn't know at the time.
I did not know at the time. I find out this when I send the proposal from the live streaming company to his talent agency, and they said, what is this? There is no live streaming, there is no documentary. So now I'm sitting in a situation where I know I'm screwed.
Yeah.
100% I know I'm screwed. But at least we're selling tickets,
Okay.
right? So he still hasn't brought this $1 million that he claims that there's an investor there, right? So I get called into FNB Stadium 2 weeks before the show
Yeah.
by Birdie, Sharif, the production manager. Birdie's over the stadium, and this guy, Charlie at Gear House. And I think I'm there for just a walkthrough.
Yeah.
That's how they tricked me to the stadium. And they tell me that, did I know that no supplier had been paid? And so, of course, my answer is no.
Yeah.
And I tell them,
Because as
look,
far as you're concerned, everyone has been paid.
everybody's been paid. Remember, I've seen him get advances from the ticketing money. I gave him money. There's no reason why, at least maybe somebody is saying they're waiting on retainage, a small portion, last 10%.
Yeah.
Not 0 has been paid. There's just no way, right? So, and just a week prior, I'd swiped my, actually it was my wife's credit card for $106,000 for Burna Boy's team's flights and hotels. He was supposed to have gotten $100,000 from Rich Homie Kwan's dad to pay for this, something. I don't know what happened to the money, but the money didn't come to pay for it, so I ended up having to pay for it. His team was pushing for the tickets. I'm watching the chat. They have me in this big ass group chat. I'm watching, so I go ahead and I pay for the flights. And so, which is fucked up because he went back and disputed it, but I'll get to that.
Yes.
So the deal I made with him was when I paid for the flights, he was supposed to be paying some bills for me in the United States. So I said, look, I'll pay for the flights, but I want my money back. So he's telling me he's waiting on the investor to give him the 100,000. So I say, okay, when the 100,000 comes in, I'm gonna give you some bills of mine. Just pay those for me in the US. This is why I'm here, swiping my card for him. And so after the show is canceled and he runs off with everyone's money, the payments that he made for me on those bills for me, he went back and disputed them with his bank and told them they were fraudulent. So all of a sudden I'm getting calls from my bank saying, you disputed a charge. And I'm like, guys, what are you talking about? So not only did I lose the 106,000 that I swiped for, I lose another 106,000 because I have to pay those same bills that he was supposed to be paying for me. So now all of a sudden that's $212,000. So now that's another 4.5 million rand, just gone,
Just like that.
Just like that. So anyway, back to this day. So when they tell me this, they take me into this auditorium with all of these suppliers. They literally put me on the spot. And I tell these guys in this room, I say, okay, guys, hey, how are you? look, I'm here, but this is not my show. I'm just the investor.
Yeah.
But get your bills to this guy Sharif, and I'm gonna go to Ticket Pro with him, and I know they can pay you guys directly. So I called this guy Brandon over at Ticket Pro, and I tell him that, hey, can I bring Sharif with me? We have some bills that we need to get paid. He says, hey, no problem. Come see me on Friday. It's a Wednesday. Friday, we go to see him. This is a weekend that I also go to Durban for an activation.
Yeah.
So I'm just there for a few minutes. Sharif gives me these bills. This is the first time I've ever seen these bills, right? I saw somebody one day say that I was CC'd on emails. I have 6 companies. I have almost 1,000 employees.
Yeah.
My emails, I swear right now, I'll show you my emails when we're done. I probably have 6,000 unread emails.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with them all. I try to, but I just can't, So I'm looking at these like, wow, this is 10.3 million rand. That's $552,000. How can we owe that much? So I give these to Brandon, and I can tell something is wrong. So I asked Sharif to step out of the room.
Yeah.
So I asked Brandon what's wrong, and he tells me that he only has 783,000 rand is all he has. So I'm like, what the hell is going on?
He was screwed.
Screwed, right? So then he shows me the advance payments. I show him the ticket sales that Sedote had shown me. He told me they were fake. He showed me that we had sold 12,200 tickets, and 6,000 of those tickets were comp tickets. So Sedote had me give 6,000 tickets to this lady named Helga, who's a PR lady, who I remember there was a story that I stole 6,000 tickets, but I'll get to it. So at any rate, Helga, just remember Helga, 6,000 tickets. I'll get back to it.
So 51 million rand in loss
Yeah.
since you've been here in less than a year. Do you think it's still worth it for you to still be around wanting to invest?
100%, I think it's worth it.
Why would you say that?
Remember what I told you about innovation in this country. The innovation is already there. It's just in the other parts of the world. So you bring things that are working in other places and you bring them here.
Yeah.
After this call, we all decide we're canceling the show.
Yeah.
The next day I go to the stadium, meet with all of them. We decide we're gonna move the show to December the 16th. And so I call him back and I tell him basically, look, I tell you what, I'll deal with the cops, it's fine. I have my evidence, I know I didn't literally do anything. This guy scammed us, like I'm going after him. Like, why are you now coming after me? Because you know I have money to pay?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense. Now you're trying to treat me just like Ticket Pro did. They came after me because they knew I had the money, and Sedote was gone. So I'm there for 5 nights. The first night I'm in the sales, I get a visit from the Blesser. First time I ever met him in my life.
Yeah.
But he tried to get in contact with me through George, maybe like 3 months prior when me and George were still friends. And we found out then he was not a person that we wanted to be around.
But lastly, I would be doing an injustice to the gossip blogs, the paparazzis, if I don't ask about that whole Kositwala situation.
Yes.
How did that even come about?
Well, the unnamed contractor gave the fake story to the blog. I've met the girl one time during the Burna Boy show, but it was in a room full of people. She didn't try to talk to me. I didn't try to talk to her. I mean, it honestly didn't bother my wife for even like 2 seconds. I mean, obviously my wife knows my type.